Do you ever wonder what exactly a virus is? Find out on today's show. What is a virus? Starting right now.
Welcome to the Weird and Wacky Planet's Nature Just Got Real podcast for kids. Join KB Carr, author of the Weird and Wacky Planet series, with Chuck Darwin, Tito, and Captain Jack, as they bring you the real skinny on what's really going on in the natural world. And now, here's your host, KB Carr.
This is KB Carr, host of the Weird and Wacky Planet Nature Just Got Real podcast for kids. And today we're talking to Maryanne Tranter, and she is a pediatric nurse practitioner, correct? Am I right?
Yes.
All right. And
Exactly.
she's going to talk to us about viruses today because, you know, it's a pretty hot topic. We're all exposed to a lot of talk about the coronavirus right now, but that's not the only virus out there. And so she's going to talk us through exactly what a virus is and some of the things we can do to protect ourselves. All right. And so tell us about yourself, Maryanne. Tell us about your background. Give us a little bit about your background.
Thank you for inviting me. Yes, I am a pediatric nurse practitioner. So I've been taking care of kids in primary care, which is where the kids come and get their physicals and their checkups and their vaccines, as well as if they're sick. And I also take care of kids in urgent care, where kids go maybe if they have an injury from playing a sport. And I've been doing that for about 25 years in my settings. And I've recently started a business to take care of families with a little bit more education on research.
Love that. You know, we're all about research here. We're kind of big on that, actually. All right, great. And can you tell us exactly what is a virus? What makes a virus a virus? What is that exactly?
Well, a virus is a little creature. We can start with that, but it's smaller than the smallest. It's the largest virus, is smaller than the smallest bacteria. So bacteria are single-celled creatures that are good bacteria and bad in our bodies, but viruses are even smaller.
And they're completely different, right? They're not the same animal.
Correct.
They're
No.
different. Okay.
Right. And viruses, what they do, which is different than bacteria, is to be able to live. Viruses can only survive if they attach themselves to cells in the body, and then they make the cells do some work by reproducing more viruses and making more viruses. So what a bacteria is a single-celled its own creature, and it can live separately. It doesn't need to have a body to live, but a virus does. So they have to have a host, which is a body, and then they attach themselves to a cell and reproduce and make more.
All right. So they behave very, very differently. They're different
Right.
species.
Right. And most viruses do cause illnesses. Well, like I said, there are good bacteria for our bodies and bad that cause some illnesses. But most viruses are kind of like the bad ones causing illnesses.
Got it. Okay. All right. And what are some of the ways, how are some of the ways we can get a virus? Like where do they come from?
So viruses usually come from other people, or occasionally an animal. Like COVID came, they think, from an animal to a person, but generally they come from person to person. And the ways we get it is they enter our body through our mouth, our nose, or our eyes, or if we had an opening in our skin, maybe. But generally nose, eyes, and mouth. If we can eat something that have a virus that makes our stomach sick, we can breathe it in. That can damage and hurt our lungs or our airways, so like our nose, mouth, and ears. So
And our eyes.
And our eyes. You
Our
know, there are
eyes.
viruses.
Wow.
Viruses that cause pink eye and bacteria that cause pink eyes.
Oh,
but
okay.
Viruses can, infect all those parts, get inside us, infect us all over.
All right. So pink eye can be caused either by a virus or bacteria. Okay, interesting.
Correct.
Interesting
Yes.
to know. Good to know. All right. And what happens, like, so say we do something, we get a virus from one of those ways. What happens, what starts to happen inside our bodies when we get infected? What does that look like?
Well, like I said, you can eat it, and so it can happen. You can get upset stomach, vomiting, and diarrhea because the viruses can disturb that. But more specifically, I'll talk about when you inhale the viruses, like the ones that cause respiratory or breathing infections,
Mhm.
like pneumonia or the cold,
A cold.
or like you've been talking about coronavirus or COVID-19 this year. But what happens is the virus gets in, and then it kind of attaches to a cell and makes the cell make more viruses. And what happens that makes us sick is everything, like if it's in our lungs, it gets a little bit inflamed and swollen. And then the body starts bringing mucus to calm it down, and white cells and mucus to fight the viruses and kill them.
That's where
And
the
so
mucus is coming from.
that's part of it too. You have all this
Okay.
inflammation from
Mhm.
the virus, and then this is going to try to calm it down and bring the stuff to fight. Things come to fight the infection. So, and those white cells and those fighters go and try to get rid of that virus.
White cells. Okay, so the white cells are the like the army.
Fight it. Yes.
The
Yes.
army. Okay. All right, that makes sense. All right. And how can we help our bodies fight a virus when we get one? So what can we do once we get sick?
Mhm.
What can we do to help our
So
bodies?
you probably all know it's the same thing for anything you can do for a cold. So a virus that's causing any of these, we're talking specifically respiratory right now because there's viruses that cause your stomach, like I said. But right now, just for this type of virus I'll talk about today, you definitely just need to rest. Because your body needs to work to fight it. So if you feel
Right.
tired, yes, you need to rest. You should drink lots and lots of water and fluids. Why? Because you want to keep all that mucus thin so that you can cough it
Oh,
out, so that it'll drain out of your ears and your sinuses and it doesn't stick in there where
so that's what the
bacteria.
water's doing. I get it
Yeah.
now. I just
If you
thought it
leave
was
that
just like,
sticky mucus in there, the bacteria likes it and it's like, oh, let's go grow there. And then you have a bacterial ear infection or throat infection on top of it all. So drink
oh,
lots of fluids, and you need to rest. You can take a medicine just if you're achy. Sometimes viruses make our bodies achy or give us a headache. And you can take like Tylenol or ibuprofen or acetaminophen, that's Tylenol or Advil or Motrin. And you can take that medicine to help with those symptoms. But generally, it's rest, fluids, maybe a fever reducer or pain reducer if you have a lot, and time. Now, if for respiratory, if things start to get harder and harder, like you get too much mucus or you get too much inflammation, it's hard for kids to handle. Some kids need support with oxygen, and that's the most critical. And we're not seeing that with these generally with viruses. But so what you can do is rest your body, lots of fluids. If you can eat a variety of foods to keep your body healthy, and then you know
your fruits and
at
vegetables.
home, fruits and vegetables.
Your fruits
Yes.
and vegetables. Not everyone wants to hear that, but I have learned now in my old age, kitties, to like broccoli. I appreciate broccoli now. I never did as a kid, but now I do. So it can be done. It can be done. All right. And so,
Well, just so you know, for trying new vegetables, it sometimes takes 10 to 15 times of trying something before your body accepts it. So
huh?
keep trying, keep trying. just taste it.
Yeah.
Maybe your taste buds will change and be ready for it.
You never know, because now it's okay. I'm not saying that's my go-to, but I'm saying that I don't mind eating that steamed broccoli, and I put a little, Mrs. Dash herb on there. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. All right. And what are the best ways to avoid getting a virus? So say I want to try not to get sick in the first place, right? That's the goal. So what are the best things that kids can do, that we all can do to try to avoid getting sick in the first place?
Well, hand washing is number one. And
Yeah,
so
I've
washing your
heard that
hands.
before.
Yeah, I mean, some of these it's good that it's in the public right now because of what's happening with coronavirus. It's really good because it's going to help. You're going to learn all these things now, and it's going to protect you through the winter and all these other viruses for colds and flu. So it's wonderful to do these things. Hand washing for 20 seconds, which is singing the ABCs fast twice. So hand washing for 20 seconds with soap, because actually soap kills the outside coating of the virus pretty easily. You just need regular soap to do that. Washing your hands after you go in and out, washing down most common like handles and light switches if somebody's sick in your home. So you, if you're sick, covering your mouth when you sneeze or cough so you don't spread it.
That's the Dracula move. We like
The
that one.
Dracula
Yeah, we
move.
like that.
And so
Yeah.
you're not spreading it to other people.
Right.
So like I said, if you keep your fluids up and you keep your body strong with different fruits and vegetables and sleep, if your immune system's strong, then you can, if a virus comes in, you might kill it right away. And then it doesn't start getting more and more in your body and causing you to feel sick. So staying healthy, getting physical activity, sleeping like you need to, eating different color fruits and vegetables throughout the week, and then keeping relaxed and stress-free and try to relax. And all that helps your immune system fight the infections.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. This is great information. And what do you lastly, what do you want kids to know? What kind of thoughts do you want to leave them with?
What I would really like kids to know is that they don't need to be scared of all this information, and I don't want them to be afraid, because you can learn this little by little. And when you have that knowledge about how things affect your body and what you can do, that can help you feel more comfortable and confident. So my takeaway and what I want kids to know is you don't have to be scared. If you don't know and you're feeling nervous, ask more questions. The more that you know, the more comfortable you'll feel.
And talk to the adults in your life, um, if you're having those feelings, and it opens up a conversation that you can each participate in, and make both of you feel better.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Maryanne. We really appreciate you being here today and talking to us about viruses, because we just kind of wanted to make sure that we had a good feel for the differences, between bacterial infection and a viral infection, and some of the things we can do. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad. Thank you for having me.
That was super informative. Thank you to our guest, Maryanne Tranter, for letting us know exactly what a virus is. And now, here's a word from our sponsor.
Have you ever seen a dragon covered in fingernails? How about a mermaid who vacuums the ocean floor every day? Or a pocket Dracula no bigger than your thumb? You can meet these animals and more in the book Weird and Wacky Endangered Creatures 1, part of the Weird and Wacky Planet series by KB Carr. Look for them wherever books are sold and get your flippers on your own coffee.
It's time for the Weird and Wacky Word of the Week.
The word of the week is microorganism. It is a noun that means any organism too small to be viewed without a microscope, and includes bacteria and viruses. See how many times you can use the word microorganism in a sentence today and impress someone with your genius. Until next week, I am Dr. Chuck Darwin. Cheerio.
Thank you, Chuck. And now here's Captain Jack to answer another one of your questions.
Got a question? Ask the captain.
Ahoy, mateys! This week's question comes from Ryan in Denver. Ryan asks, did the chicken pox virus come from chickens? Well, Ryan, the short answer is no. Chicken pox doesn't really have anything to do with chickens or any other birds either. The truth is, no one really knows where the name came from. There are some theories out there, like people thought it was like smallpox but weaker, so they called it a chicken pox. Get it? Or that the spots looked like chickens had been pecking a person, so they called it that. How many times have chickens pecked someone badly enough that they named a virus after it? That one gave me nightmares, and now I'm scared of chickens. Hope that answers your question, Ryan. If any of you want to ask me something, just email it to naturejustgotreal@gmail.com. I'm always listening. This is Captain Jack signing off till next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jack. And if you have a question for Jack, just email it to her at naturejustgotreal@gmail.com, or you can leave a message for her at 616-259-6742. And now here's Tito with this week's Creature Feature.
And now, the Weird and Wacky Weekly Creature Feature.
This week's weirdo of the week is the sea sponge. What makes it weird is that it's a sponge and it's an animal. It lives in the sea and filters out the water through itself to eat. And while it filters the water, it sponges up viruses that live in the ocean. Did you even know there were viruses in the ocean? Yeah, lots of them. In a recent experiment, sea sponges filtered out 94% of the viruses in 3 hours. That's better than the quicker picker-upper. Anywho's, scientists think there are more than 8,500 species of sea sponge, and they can live up to 10 years in the wild. They come in a variety of colors and shapes and are often mistaken for plants. But they're animals, and really, really helpful animals at that. I guess you could say that sea sponges soak up viruses like a sponge. I'm Tito, and I'll see yous all next week.
Thank you for joining us to today's show, What is a Virus? Now we know exactly what's going to be going on inside our bodies next time we get a cold or the flu. But try to stay well and have a stay well adventure in your neighborhood. Until next week.
That wraps up the show for today. Thank you to our sponsor, Weird and Wacky Planet. And thank you for listening. Thank you for caring, and thank you for sharing. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Let us know if you do, and we might mention you on the show. Until next week, go have an adventure in your neighborhood.